I'm going to do a talking stroll with the side note / keynote being, the obviousness isn't so obvious to everybody because we were in the dark to what could have been obvious. And within a certain context of dark, maybe God was always there and God is using the darkness as his story and his plot upon his theater, which whatever the real universe is, like literally defining what the universe is accurately and just saying it directly like that, because that's the expression of liberation, or it's a liberation for an expression. So why did my monkey ass come on here today to bother you and your precious time and attention? Our attention, as it repostulates or whatever, it in itself is concentrating and consolidating in different ways depending on what we have our own inner intelligence to ultimately wave that attention towards. So why would I bring it up like that? So what do we got over here? C Sports. So why would I bring it up like that? So like I love doing. I got comfortable with the walking strolls because people could be staring at you within the periphery, but when you're in a balanced approach, respectively, knowing that I could see you as well as you could see me, then in a different notion of a context, it's like I see you as well. You see me, I see you. Oh, I see you. That means so many different ways. I see where you're at. Just on a society level, I see where you're at intellectually. I see where you're at emotionally, obviously, and that's an underlying, shared concept of that's a teamwork concept. Like we all this whole mind, body, and soul. Whether regardless of how someone tries to capitalize with that notion, that has always been something of a different timeless notion that has been introduced by different predecessors. Because within me buying this new phone, I'm already at 5.5 hours underground podcast, and that's the real Steez juice. It's the real Steez, literally originally it's the real Steez juice. And within that, the resonance is now recraftulating itself to be coordinated to go towards its peak and precision within a modern balanced future, mind, body, and soul. But I don't want to get long-winded with that. I'm just saying, how we do anything, do it because it works for you. Don't do it because someone else told you to do it, and you're just kind of lost. Because honestly, in the end, we're all just trying, no matter what we do, what we think, or what we're engaged in, or what we have found ourselves lost in, no matter what, in the midst of it all, we're just all trying to find our way home, respectively, or nah. Or we're just all trying to find our place within it, or nah. So within that, finding the place of what we're doing, we could get hoodwinked to lose our way, for better or for worse. And there's things that are in the field, for better or for worse, that are helping us compensate how we could have lost that way. So there's two different forces on a surface level, material level, that are for us and against us. That's the real societal mechanics, and uploading all of this, my whole life's work, to the original God, because the stuff I've said underground, there's so much more details that are what do you call that? They're so essential, more than necessary. The details are essential to a different aspect of completion. But not everybody's ready for that, because we're all trying to find our own place And as we try to find our own place, we could be in a process of like realizing that we got lost and then barely trying to refix that based on wherever we're at within the illusion, because the underground content, it's like it is what it is, you know. And for seeing like whatever good or bad force kind of quote unquote interceives that, or the the terminality of that, the temporality of that as well will be transmuted. And what I mean by transmuted is it will be resolved on a higher level, pretty much. But like obviously there's themes of caution and there's themes of like do what thou will, obviously, but like within like within like finding one's place, do it how you do it, Ooh. Do it how you do it, because like what's the real significance of chanting like a particular mantra, like why do I chant a mantra? Am I even doing it right, like, but like it's about like it's about the intention and the offering, and the new creativity, because within the new creativity, who's to say that you're doing anything wrong or right when chanting a mantra? Like what would the main quote unquote deity end quote in its own balanced form, what would it reply to it rather than a false representative? Because we don't even know, on some percentage energetic degree, we don't even know how we could be a false representative of the things that we're representing, as far as like the chantings, be it, and there's millions of mantras obviously, but we don't necessarily know like we don't necessarily know like if we're like even in pocket, we don't even necessarily know when we could be out of pocket, because we're so like, we just have a unique human stubbornness. And obviously like, I'm not just saying any of these keywords just to say keywords. No, there's like more explanations, and it's up to the genuine seeker to have a new understanding of balance, to go towards a different, quote unquote eternal balance, end quote. But we're not all about that life. And then we wonder why, like, with things the way they are, because sometimes like within this, spiritual to chemical experiment of our human lives, sometimes we have something more and we could be lacking a certain like chemical integer, and we have something more of a different spiritual integer, and we could be amplifying that, which could create some type of unique alignment to disalignment. So what am I talking about right there? It's like what am I talking about right there? It's famous. You're famous. So like when chanting the mantra, it's like sometimes like, and it's not even about just the mantras, it's like the activities that we're doing, we could be amplifying something while missing something else. So if we're magnifying and amplifying a certain part of us that is like, whatever it is, like maybe you have a boat, and within the boat, you're just focusing on like, just for a crude example, you're just focusing on like, the aesthetics of it, and you didn't necessarily and your engine's okay obviously, but you didn't necessarily have the like the proper the sails, like this, like you didn't necessarily, like the sails aren't necessarily there. But this is just a metaphor, but like to your human life. So like maybe metaphorically we don't have the sails, we just have like, we're just focused on the aesthetic, and we just got like a default, we got stock parts, we got stock parts, like mechanically we got stock parts. The aesthetics are on point because we're convinced and induced to just like be all about the image, but we don't have the sails. So if we don't have the sails, we're not going in the right direction. So if we don't have the sails, we're gonna look, it's like a pig with lipstick, you're putting lipstick on the pig, pretty much. So like that could be excuse me, that could be equated to like, you know, the mantras that we chant, you know. We could be chanting one mantra, quote, and it doesn't have to be a mantra. It could just be a dedication or a commitment. We could have a dedication and commitment to one aspect of life while being absent of another, perhaps essential one that we don't have. And one could be magnified, you know, like the look could be magnified, but how we get the fuel and how we get our GPS coordinates, that could be absent for some reason. So that's how we could be going through life. We're going through life just like trying to look all glossed up and glammed up and glitzed up, whatever, you know, original shit. And then like do shit like, you know, out like sideways, you know. But the reason I try to like, you know, have different commitments and dedications to different aspects of life is so I could find my place, you know, so I could find where I'm at, you know. So that was the main point of this video. It's like, you know, why someone could like chant a mantra, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about the mantra, you know. And it's not necessarily like doing it in a strict, rigid way, but if that's ultimately like prescribed from the horse's mouth, then maybe, you know, maybe we have to do it right. But if we were to do that in like if we were to like, you know, maybe there's like, you know, just for example, maybe there might be like 7 to 9 essential quote unquote mantras, or metaphorically, or, you know, the mantra being the metaphor, and then, you know, realistically, them being commitments to certain aspects of life, you know. Instead, like on a modern way, instead of looking at mantras being mantras, they could be looked at as commitments to aspects of life, and those aspects of the life and those actions and those life paths are the mantras themselves as you're doing the work for them, for that, you know, aspect of life already as it is. So I'm gonna go this way. I'm just walking around. But so within all of that, so anything that we're doing on a deep subconscious level, we ultimately did start innocent, even if you are like the quote unquote evil of evil, because you have an energetic trail that you walked, and a lineage that you walked, in how you became what you are respectively. And I'm not trying to put anybody on blast. I'm just trying to like see what the mechanics of the universe has hidden for us, or, you know, or what's becoming unsheathed. So I chant the mantras, and who knows, I chant different mantras, but who's to say if I'm doing it right? You know, it's my commitment to it though, and we have to be super, you know, we have to be super butthole patient with this shit, because we can't expect and we can't impose immediate results from what we're asking someone to provide a certain something for us, you know. So if we're only doing that within our fragmented consciousness, we're only doing that for one aspect of life, and we're not necessarily seeing how a different aspect of life could support us, and we quote unquote want nothing to do with that, end quote, then that's how we're spiritually out of pocket, because that's the essence of your fragmentation, you know. But if you were to do like if you were to just commit to one aspect of life with ignoring the others and just magnifying that aspect of life, then that in itself, it could create some type of you know, disalignment, you know. So I just laugh because of I just laugh at the surroundings and the peculiarity of things, you know, like just the oddness. You know, I'm not necessarily laughing for no reason, you know. I laugh for many reasons, you know. I laugh like the obvious isn't so obvious for people, you know. And I'm not trying to be like kiddish or immature with laughing. No, it's you know, it's me having like, me recognizing with my intelligence where other people could lack that intelligence when it could be so obvious. And maybe that And maybe like, the different, maybe something can look at me that way in a different, framework. So with enchanting them, like, with enchanting like any mantra, and I'm not saying any specific mantra, I'm just saying any, like there's millions of mantras. I'm not saying any specific mantra, but with enchanting a mantra, we could do that perhaps and work with that, and maybe and realize maturely that we have to work with that, and as a practice for the praxis of your life. So within that, I just do it just to find my way home, I'm just doing it to find my place. So as I'm finding my place, I in the back of my mind, I realize that, like, there's people like in some type of audience that could try to fault find you. So those people that are fault finding you, they're doing it out of their own, casual disgruntledness for however they chose to follow up on their desires to be where they're at right now. And as they're doing that, we can't let that affect us. For someone to, like, fault find. But the thing is, if they have some type of, balanced, constructive, like, appeal and perspective of how I could recorrect myself within me aligning with a certain mantra or me aligning with a certain aspect of life, then, my emotional intelligence will receive that if my emotional intelligence is on par to receive that constructive criticism. But ultimately, within my emotional intelligence and my intelligence, I'm going to say, is this really non-fragmented, and is this really well-rounded or not, on a higher, on the bar level, on a higher, like, bar raised level, you know what I'm saying? So and this is raw, this is raw with it. So I chant mantras to find my place, and if someone looks at me to fault find for me to do that, the main point, another main points here is you're also doing that in a different way. Whatever you're doing based on your own charade and your enshrouding fog of what you generally collected, you too are still in a way of trying to find your own place. If not, then why are you at where you're at, and why are you hankering to what you're hankering to? Since a week ago, maybe 5 days ago, I already have, I just say this like for the future resonance beyond the fucking material earth, but within the exalted material earth, obviously, and that there's a big distinction there, because we could get confused and lost and parade and charade all these promotions and hypes and narratives and rhetorics and media bits and, commercials and whatever is a quote unquote message, how you could just, quote unquote casually replicate that and not use it for its original purpose, and see, and maybe like more or less align ourselves with the spiritual understanding of what is the result of that long term, So I'm just saying that, like, for some reason, I don't know, I just like 5.5 hours underground since 5 days ago. And it's like, this Steez juice, it's like, in the future, it's giving you a chance, like, you could apply for the realest balanced shit ever or not. And if you don't, good luck. Thank you, guys. Find your place. Find your way home.